If you clicked on this video, you were curious. You saw the title and the thumbnail, and it asked the question that you wanted an answer to. The sad truth about Halo Infinite. After many years of ups and downs with Halo Infinite going into year 3, the real sad part about Halo Infinite is that it's over. But how? How can Halo Infinite, that was supposed to last for like 10 years plus, is over? How is it over? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss that. As of recording, we are going into year 3 of Halo Infinite's content cycle. And sadly, the offerings that we are going to be getting going into year 3 are going to be heavily reduced. As of January 24th, 2024, 343 posted a community update and has confirmed that Season 5, the current season we are in, is the last big season that they are planning on doing. These will be replaced with operations. They're going to run for about 4 to 6 weeks, and if you are unfamiliar with what operations are, they're basically a 20-tier battle pass with some fun events, some cosmetics, and that is going to be the content pretty much going forward for Halo Infinite. The community director, Brian Jarrett, came out in PC Gamer and said, "We have a dedicated team working on supporting Halo Infinite and continuing to deliver coming forward. But also, we have additional teams now that are accelerating towards the future, working on brand new projects." This screams to me that there's only going to be a smaller dedicated team on Halo Infinite from now on, which means we're not going to get these big grand updates and changes to the game that a lot of players maybe want. And that's the sad part, because it essentially feels like Halo Infinite has now just been put on life support until the next Halo game, because 343 may be working on other projects, but the projects are going to be something Halo related. The sad truth may be that it's over, and the other sad part is that the game is in an incredible state right now. I've covered it multiple times, from launch to 6 to 12 months afterwards when the winter update came out, and then just last year in November, and the changes are remarkable. Multiple playlists for people to play in and enjoy with their friends, casual or competitive. The Halo 3 update that we had in December was fantastic. We had a whole bunch of maps from Halo 3 remade in Halo Infinite. Around October, we had a massive influx of players returning to the game, but it wasn't enough to recapture that magic that we had at launch. There was over 256,000 players at the launch on Steam alone, and I can only imagine there was more across all platforms. That player count was never capitalized on because Halo Infinite came out of the blocks, fell over, and was never able to recover. I've said this in many other videos. Halo Infinite's core gameplay, the multiplayer, is one of the best that we've seen from 343 and is able to go up against at least Halo 3 and Halo Reach in terms of its fun level, taking it into a modern setting, not feeling too much like Halo 4 or Halo 5. I feel like they nailed the balance here, and that's what's the most frustrating part, because Halo has always been a game I've loved for its combat and its main multiplayer. They swing it too far towards a Call of Duty, or they go too much into the movement shooter, and it doesn't really feel like Halo anymore. And 343 actually did it. They did it this time. And the sad part about it is the rest of the game didn't live up to that. The real issue here is mismanagement was the real killer of Halo Infinite. Right now, the studio head, Pierre Hintz, is the guy that was responsible for fixing the MCC and is now responsible for putting Halo Infinite in the state that it is in. But through development and through the launch of Halo Infinite, it was a very different story. A majority of the disruption comes down to Microsoft's policy towards contractors. A well-known reporter that I have talked about many times on this channel, Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, tweeted out in 2020 talking about the contractor situation, stating, "At Microsoft, contractors can only work for 18 months max. Microsoft uses so many contractors that this limit leads to a lot of attrition, and for games that take 4+ years to make, like Halo Infinite, it has been disruptive." This was further compounded in January of last year when there was a bunch of layoffs at 343. A former developer of 343, Patrick Wren, tweeted out, "The layoffs at 343 shouldn't have happened, and Halo Infinite should be in a better state. The reason for both of those things is incompetent leadership up top during Halo Infinite's development, causing massive stress on those working hard to make Halo the best it can be. In that same tweet thread, a contractor by the name of Nick Bird commented on the contractor situation. Don't forget the heavy reliance on contractors/vendors and that messed up system, though I know it's more Microsoft than it is 343. I would have loved to stay on the team if I could and work my way up. Still one of my favorite jobs that I've been at. Now, why is this a problem? Because when a contractor comes in, if they work 18 months on, say, the engine or on a specific area of the game during development or a piece of content, any of those things, and then they have to leave the company after, say, 18 months, and a new person comes into their position, they have to then learn exactly how that person did those things. And then on top of that, iterate on that specific system to make it potentially better or continue work on that system. And you can imagine if 4 or 5 or 6 people go through that process on one area of the game, the 9th person that's going to be jumping into this situation is going to be confused, and it's going to take things a lot longer to be able to be fixed. This can probably compound into updates. This can probably compound into new content that was planned and then it's scrapped. It can be very disruptive, and not even from a developer standpoint. If I had to do that at any job or any specific situation, it would end up being rather daunting for anybody. It also goes to show that a lot of common issues that were reported was to do with the engine of Halo Infinite, because it was its own specific thing. Now, if the creator of that engine is no longer at the studio, then you can't go and ask them for advice on how to fix a specific bug. It's just patchwork on top of patchwork. It gives a pretty clear indication when you actually look at the game and how long it's taken to get updates out and how long they've spent adjusting the core system in the game. So ability to put helmets on any piece of armor or shoulder pieces on any piece of armor, because they've had to undo all of these things that may have been implemented at the start and then re-implement them back into the game. So it's going to take a little while. Now, of course, I don't know everything that's going on at 343, so this is just going off reports and then giving my opinion on what those reports are, but it kind of has a good correlation with the problems with development that have been reported and the problems that have gone on within the game. So the sad part is there. We know Halo Infinite's time is going to be coming to a close in the next couple of years. Reading between the lines a little bit, it just seems that they're going to have a crew on deck for updates, keeping the servers live and keeping things kind of rolling, what you would call like a skeleton crew or like a very reduced team, while the rest of the studio goes to work at other things, because there's not just a multiplayer team for Halo. There was supposed to be DLCs for Halo Infinite's campaign, which never came to fruition. Which would have been really cool, because Halo Infinite's story wasn't that bad. I really enjoyed it in comparison to Halo 5, but we don't talk about that. So that just leaves us with one question. What's next? We know Halo Infinite's going to get these operation updates. We know that it's going to be staying live for a while, and we're probably going to have to expect 343 is working on the next Halo title, which is very exciting to say the least. And I just hope that things go right this time, because we've been saying that for the last 3 games, and every time 343 has disappointed in one area or another. And I want them to succeed. I want developers, I want Halo to succeed, because it's my all-time favorite shooter franchise. It's also one of my favorite sci-fi franchises. I want to see it do well. I want to see it have the same success as these other massive shooters on the market. It did. It had that potential right at the beginning. And I was so excited for the future of Halo when Halo Infinite's multiplayer launched, but half the game was missing. The cooperative campaign, Forge, the updates to multiplayer, which we can keep going over multiple times. But those are the key elements that weren't there at launch, and that's why a lot of people were unhappy. A lot of Halo fans were unhappy. A lot of regular players were unhappy. And that's what I think 343 has to nail in the next 4 years before the next game comes out. Realistically, there's going to be another console gen before we see another Halo. We're already mid-cycle right now of the Xbox and PlayStation, so we're probably not going to see another Halo game until the next set of consoles, which if they did it right, let's put it into the perfect scenario. If they worked on the game tirelessly for the next couple of years and they really nailed the Halo launch, they had a Halo launch with the new hardware, then it could be a massive start for that next console generation. But that's just ifs, buts, and maybes. It's not absolutes, so we can't really talk about that unless we know any other information. We just know that 343 is working on a new project. What that will be, we don't know. We know that they did cancel the Battle Royale that was shelved for Halo a few months back. So yeah, it's probably going to be the next Halo title as a main educated guess. That's the sad truth about Halo Infinite. It's over. Just enjoy it for what we have right now. The new updates, the operations, the new maps that get added into the game via the community. I just hope that one day Halo can be at the tippy top of the mountain again and have a lot of people playing it. As a fan, I want to see Halo on top again. As a creator, I'd love to see Halo on top again, so I'll make more videos on it. But the reality is, Halo Infinite didn't live up to its potential, and it probably won't ever. So, on to the next one, I suppose. And if this video has been somewhat enjoyable, informative, and you were curious and clicked on it, make sure you click that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell as always. This has been It's Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.